This is Power Hour. Again, if you're just joining me, my name is John, and for this Power Hour class, I thought our theme would be freedom. Freedom. And seeing clearly. They kind of go together as far as what we're doing in our practice today. And I think for obvious reasons, especially today and what's been going on, so much is going on, and our foundations are a little unstable, our vision isn't all that clear, and like what's the right answer to things, and a lot of confusion, a lot of questions, and that can get really settled in our bodies too, and they feel like binds and feeling kind of closed in. So I thought for our practice we'd kind of get into those binds, experience what that might feel like in our bodies, and then experience what it feels like to get out of those binds and to maybe clear some space here, especially our vision, so we can see a little bit more clearly. And so we have answers, we have directions, like, yes, I see where I need to go, or I can at least take that next step. So that's kind of our focus today. So really don't need any props. I always like having a block. If you have a block or any other props, that's perfect, but nothing specific that we'll need for this practice today. So I think we'll begin. Let's go ahead and start in mountain pose. Again, welcome to our folks who are here at Public Coffee. And I invite you to stand in mountain pose. We'll stand with our feet about hip distance apart, toes pointing forward. Feel free to close your eyes, or you can just soften your eyes and just take a soft gaze forward or downward if you'd like. Just take these first few moments of our practice to tune into breath. Just notice your breathing. At first you might take deep breaths just to get reacquainted with your breath. You can just settle into just softer, slower breathing. Mindful breath, aware of each inhale and aware of each exhale. Good. And just move inward. Use your breath as a guide and let it guide you inside of self. Let it journey through your entire body and maybe just take note. Do a little check-in with self. And just notice what parts of self might feel a little bound up or tight. Parts of your physical body that might feel a little sore. A little uncomfortable, doesn't feel very eased. And even with just this simple breath flow, maybe starting to open up some of these spaces. And then certainly our practice together to help open up those bound, tight spots inside. That could be physically, it might be mentally and emotionally, even spiritually. Let's take 3 more slow breaths together. Using these breaths to bring a little bit more energy to the body so we can put our bodies into motion. And moving at your own breath pace, inhale and extend your arms overhead. Just reach all the way up, nice big stretch. Good, exhale, let's fold forward. Good hinge from your hips. Bend your knees as much as you need to and just fold, and maybe you'll touch your toes, but you certainly don't have to this first time. Maybe your hands land at your shins like mine did. Then inhale, slide your hands up to your knees or your thighs and extend your spine so maybe you're parallel to the floor. Then exhale, fold again. And again, this could be a partial fold, or you might just bend your knees a little bit more and carefully, maybe very slowly, bend so that you can touch your toes or the ground. Just an option at this point. Another opportunity to check in with your body. Notice if there's any tension. We like to hold tension in our shoulders and neck and our upper back. So maybe a little some movement here. Shoulder roll, big circles with the shoulders. Roll them forward, roll them backward. Give a little shake of the head. I'd even invite you to yawn. Just open your mouth really wide, like you're yawning. We hold tension in our jaw, our necks. And if you're still in that forward fold, maybe a little sway left and right, a little release in the low back, and the hips a little bit. From here, lean back into your heels a bit, bend your knees like you're sitting down. Your hips will drop a little. Look forward, that should extend your spine. And spread your wings, take your arms out to the side, and then stand up, straightening the legs. Reach up into the air, that's it. In your exhale, bring your hands together and down to your heart. Just pause for a moment, just take a breath or two. Just getting into our bodies, listening to the breath. Let's do that half salute again, or half salute to the sun. Whenever you're ready, inhale, good. Reach into the air, energy in your hands and fingers, reaching high. Exhale, leading with your heart, fold forward, soft knees, making your way down under control. Inhale, rise up halfway, so the top of your head leads you forward. And your exhale, back down. Just a brief pause in this forward fold. And again, leaning back into your heels, bend your knees. You might look forward and use your arms to help rise up, then reach up nice and high. Yeah, good stretch. Exhale, hands together and back down to your heart. We'll hold a little bit longer right here in mountain pose. Having initiated movement of the body, being guided by breath. Maybe you already started to notice what feels a little bound up in your body. Maybe your practice today will help release. Let's go ahead and continue. Whenever you're ready, inhale, sweep your arms up into the air. Exhale, let's fold forward. Always okay to bend your knees, making your way down, maybe touching your toes. And for everyone practicing, go at your own pace. Inhale, rise up halfway. Now in this exhale, bend your knees enough so you can place your hands on your mat in front of you. And just walk or step both of your feet back into plank pose. We'll take a nice breath in. As you exhale, bend your knees a little, send your hips into the air. Just guide yourself into downward facing dog. I just call this a little shortcut, just a quick movement from plank into downward facing. Make any adjustments with your hands and feet as you need to help settle into this inverted position. Feel free to move here, maybe a little stretch of your calves and your toes. You might pedal your feet. You might press one heel down as the other heel lifts, and then alternate. Here I'm checking in with my calves. My calves feel a little tight, and so I know this feels like a nice stretch and release. Let your knees bend, your hips might shift side to side. Certainly there's breath. Back to stillness in your down dog for a moment. Take a nice full breath in. As you exhale, walk, step, or even hop both feet back up to the top of your mat. Inhale to rise up halfway, letting the top of your head lead you forward. Exhale, fold. Weights back into the heels, soft knees. Inhale, reverse your swan dive. Come on up. Reach up into the sky. Now we're going to keep this moving. On your exhale, take chair pose or Utkatasana, a chair-like position. Yeah, it feels like you might be sitting back into a chair. Good. Nice arm postures, everybody. So you can extend your arms out like this, straight arms at an angle, or even down parallel to floor, or a nice bend in the elbows. That's perfect. Let's breathe in. And exhale, we'll dive out of the seat, back down towards toes, back to our forward fold. Inhale, rise up halfway, maybe even a little weight shift towards your toes. Exhale, bent knees, hands to your mat. Walk or step both feet back into plank pose. Let's pause and just know that you can always take that shortcut anytime, even this time to downward facing dog, or take a breath in and exhale, finish your push-up. So you might come down. You can certainly bring knees to the floor first, then chest. There you go. Inhale, maybe a low cobra or up dog. I'm going to choose a low cobra this time. And then your exhale, pressing back to downward facing. You might first push back to hands and knees, and then lift hips up into the air. And there's your down dog. Let's continue adding on with our lunges. We'll inhale to extend right leg up and back. Find the wall behind you. Your exhale to guide right foot to the top of the mat. Once you've landed, good, turn left heel to the floor, then shift your weight back into that foot. You'll feel your hips, pull back towards that back edge of your mat until your hands don't need to be on the floor anymore. They easily rise up like this. You might extend forward through your spine. And then same thing, maybe spread your wings and rise up. Reach into the air. And exhale, just gonna lunge a little deeper. We'll hold for a few seconds, good, in our Warrior One. You can even change your arm posture here if that feels a little bit better for your shoulders. That's perfectly fine since we're holding this one. We're gonna breathe in. We'll exhale and just fold again. Plant your hands into the mat. Let's slide that right foot back to meet the other. Maybe coming down, chaturanga. You can choose that shortcut again. Inhale, maybe up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. You have some nice options when you go through those vinyasas. Then your inhale to extend left leg up into the air. Reach, extend, exhale. Left foot now up to the top of your mat. If you don't make it right away, I'm going to show you this real quick. If my foot didn't make it, I can stop there. Bring the right knee to the floor. Literally pick up your left foot and just place it near the top of the mat. Relift the right knee. Turn right heel to the floor behind you. Shift the weight back until there's no weight in your hands. Easily able to extend spine and then finish that flow. Good. Rising up, reach up, and your exhale just to lunge. We'll hold for a few breaths in our Warrior One. Again, you can change your arm posture. This is just a nice goalpost shape here, or a nice V shape, something like that. Just something that doesn't feel too binding in the shoulders is always nice. Okay, take your breath in. And your exhale, let's go ahead and fold. We'll bring hands back down to the mat. Step back into plank pose, completing your series as you'd like. We'll meet up together in downward facing dog. Good breathing, everybody. Hold for a second in down dog. We're going to take this to the floor. Just gently bring your knees down to the mat. We'll sit back, maybe hero, but then slide off the feet onto your mat. Swing the legs around to the front. And then find the center of your mat and then lie down onto your back. Just roll down, meet the ground. And here, lying down with your knees bent, feet flat on the floor. Just hold that for a moment. Maybe a nice relaxed sensation here, just for a few moments, so you can feel that contrast of all the engagement that we typically do in power classes. But also feeling the nice relaxed sensations in the body too, that you can certainly create that within. Let's go to bridge. Let's start with a nice full breath in, fill up your lungs. You can exhale through the mouth if you'd like to. Empty your belly. Good. Then lift your hips up into the air. I'm not too concerned how high the hips lift. They might barely lift up off the floor. If you have a block or a big pillow or something, you can even slide that underneath you and just sit on it for a more supported bridge pose if you'd like. I'm going to go up a little higher, but I need to take my feet a little wider and my knees a little wider. That just gives me a little bit more space in my hips and low back. For me, that gets a little bound up, so we want to make space, right? So I just take the feet a little wider. You can bend your elbows and have the backs of your arms or elbows, that's it. Press down into the mat. That might assist the lifting and opening of the upper body. And one last little thing here, I'm just going to squeeze the shoulder blades together behind me. That too stabilizes the upper body. Squeezing shoulder blades together as you're able. We'll take a few more breaths. And we'll start wiggling the toes forward. We're just starting to make space so we can get out of this pose. Perhaps extend your arms up into the air and then roll your way down to the mat. Okay, go ahead and extend your arms behind you and your legs out front and reach in these opposite directions. A nice re-lengthening through the entire body. Maybe a breath in, and then your exhale, you can bring your knees in. Just give yourself a little hug. Even little circles here with the knees to help release any tension in the back if there is any. And then you're rocking forward and back with some good breaths, giving yourself a little energy and momentum so you can rock your way up to seated. We'll come to boat pose. I'm going to start boat pose like this, where you can sit with the knees bent and heels on the floor with flexed feet. This is a nice way just to get into the pose. You might even hold on underneath the knees here and treat them like handlebars and just sit up nice and tall. That's it. So you have a good extended spine, breathing in for that lengthening. Exhale to engage belly, then maybe start to lean back a little bit. There you go, like you're leaning back in a reclining chair. Hold for a second, adjust, feel where you are. You can stay just like this. This is perfect for a boat pose, because you probably could stay here a longer period of time. Breathing in your exhale, either stay here or lean back a little bit more. And if you start stepping the heels towards yourself, they're going to become lighter and then start to lift up off the floor. Good, if you choose to do so. You can always hold on to the legs, you can always release, you can always bring feet back down to the floor. I love boat pose for all these variations. Good, everybody. Yeah, nice energized feet. That'll keep the legs strong. You're all there. We're going to move now. Breathing in. Let's exhale, cross legs. Maybe roll forward if you can. Catch yourself with your hands. Step back. Here's plank pose. Pause. Let's just take that shortcut to down dog. Bend your knees a little. Send your hips into the air. Let's keep it moving. Inhale, extend your right leg up, reach back nice and long. We're going to open this up, bend your knee, bring your heel down towards your backside, and a simple lift of your knee up towards the ceiling. Little hip opener, spinal rotation. Breathe in right here. Exhale to unwind and step through. Right foot to the top of the mat. We'll turn left heel to the floor. Remember to shift the weight back so you have a balance on the feet. Start to float your way up. Good, arms up into the air. Warrior one, and we'll exhale to open up to our warrior two. Yes, nice adjustment with the feet, just so you can settle in. That's a nice base. We want that strong foundation. Reach out with the arms. Remember this pose. It's a common pose. We know warrior two. We always come here. I just love the expansiveness of the posture. Let's reach out over this right leg. Angled upper body to our side angle. So right arm, will come down, left arm up. Now you can stay up as high as you'd like in this pose. Maybe take a few breaths, and as the body starts to release and open and warm up a little, maybe you'll slide down a little bit. There you go. Love it. And just keep treating this as an opening posture. I like to think of it as warrior two, just kind of tipped over. Breathe in. We'll exhale to turn again towards the floor. Carefully bend, bring your hands to the mat. Step back briefly for plank, just to realign the strong body. Bend your knees a little, hips into the air, back to our downward facing dog. Any adjustments there as needed? Other side. Inhale, extend left leg up, reach. Good, nice control there. Bend your knee, lift your knee towards the ceiling, which creates a nice hip opener and a rotation in the spine. Breathe in right where you are. Exhale to unwind, step through, left foot to the top of the mat. Make that adjustment if you need to. Right heel to the floor, shifting weight back. Take your time if you need it. Rise up when you're ready, warrior one. And your exhale to warrior two. Yeah, adjust your foundation. We want that foundation to be strong. One thing, if the feet feel like they're too close together like this, it might feel like you're on a surfboard, and that's not very stable, okay? Maybe you're too far away, and it doesn't feel too stable here as well. Feeling like you might just sink and collapse. Side angle, let's reach out over this left thigh. Rotate your arms. I'm staying up pretty high in this pose initially. As my body continues to warm up, I'll probably go a little bit lower and deeper. But just take the time to listen to your body. Notice what it needs at this moment. Let's breathe in, and our exhale to guide us. We'll turn so we can bring hands back down to the mat. Step back into plank pose. You can do that same shortcut to down dog or complete the full series if you'd like, taking the full vinyasa. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Let's hold a moment in down dog. Maybe a breath or two. Breathing in when you're ready to move. In your exhale to hop or step or walk
Both feet returning to the top of the mat. Inhale to extend spine, monkey pose. Exhale to fold, that nice deep forward fold. Lean back into your heels, bend your knees. Inhale, sweep your arms out and up. Return to standing, reaching high. Exhale, hands together and down to your heart. Very nice flow. Good breathing, everybody. Couple more breaths. Let's relax here for a moment. Go ahead and bring your arms down and actually just shake it out. Again, just like when we go to that bridge pose or when we prepare for bridge pose, just you get to relax for a moment. So do the same thing here. You want to just kind of shake some things loose. In that sense, that's our intention today. It's a little shoulder roll, a little head and neck stretch if you'd like. And when you're ready, just make your way back to a more active mountain pose, and we'll move into our tree pose, a balancing position. So go ahead and start shifting your weight over into your right foot, root down strongly into the floor. Another strong foundation. We'll inhale to feel the lifting and lengthening of spine. Good. Exhale, navel to spine. When you're ready, just float the left foot up into the air. Maybe a flexed foot just to keep that leg active. That might help. And then swing the knee out to the side, opening, and then just placing foot on the inside of the standing leg. I'm going to give you some variations of this, especially since we're kind of thinking about, not feeling very settled and balanced. This might be very challenging today, and that's fine. So maybe you want to use a little extra stability. Use the floor. Place your toes on the floor. Here's something you could do with the block. Treat it like a pedestal and just set your foot on it there as you could create the hip opening part of the posture if you want. Then when you're ready, if you'd like, an inhale to reach up into the air. This too can be very expansive and opening. It certainly opens the hips, opens the upper body. You can take some nice expansive breaths. All right, let's keep the arms as they are. Swing your left knee forward. You might lift your knee with the flexed foot and then set your foot down onto the mat next to the other. Just bring your arms back down by your side. And once you're there, go ahead and let it all go. Oof. A nice release. So that's one way you could use the block. Just treat it as a pedestal. Just turn it up to any level that you want. And when you go for that balance, just set your foot on it. And you can just really kind of practice the hip opener part. Okay, so that's an option for you. All right, back to our active mountain pose. And then start shifting your weight over to left foot. We'll root down strongly into the ground. Nice long spine, lifting up. Inhale. Exhale, connect to center, and we'll float the right foot up. Flex foot, nice active there. Yeah, swing the knee out to the side. There's our hip opener. Placing foot on the inside of your standing leg, or use that pedestal. I always default to my calf. I just feel comfortable there. You certainly can bring that foot up higher to inner thigh. And if you do, you can even press in a little more firmly there. If you need to change that, you can always change it. Then inhale, sweep your arms up into the air. I like this V shape with the arms. For me, when I bring my arms in too close like this, I feel more bound up in my neck and shoulders. So maybe a little wider if that feels good for you. You can even do that goalpost. So a couple more breaths so you can just experience this nice opening of the body. Perfectly okay if you lose your balance or need to step out of the pose. Let's keep the arms as they are. We'll swing that right knee forward, lifting knee with the flexed foot. We'll plant the foot back down into the ground, arms back down by your side, completing the series. Yeah, shake it all out. Even your feet and toes here, your ankles, knees, hips. Letting it all go. We'll come back to mountain pose on our mats. We'll just do a nice flow here, really getting into our bodies. Whenever you're ready, inhale, sweep your arms into the air. Exhale, chair pose. Doesn't have to be too deep, just a little bend of the knees, sit back, breathe in. Exhale, dive out of your seat towards toes, forward fold. Inhale, rise up halfway. And your exhale, hands to your mat. Go ahead and step or walk back into plank pose. Come right down if you can, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, up dog or choose cobra. A nice low back bend if you'd like. There you go. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good options. Make some adjustments in the body, hands and feet if you need to. Then inhale, extend right leg out. Reach back, bend and twist. Bend the knee, lift the knee, and the twist happens in the spine. As you exhale this next one, unwind, step right foot to the top of the mat, left heel to the floor, shift weight back. Inhale to float your way up, reach into the air, warrior one. And your exhale to warrior two. Build your foundation. That might mean let's move those feet. Steady and strong. Feel this pose. Remember this posture. Then your side angle, reaching out. Rotate the arms. Stay up high if you want, or maybe you've made a little bit more space and can go slightly lower. A couple of breaths right here. Still experiencing this tipped over warrior two posture. Now stay here, but bring your left hand down behind you to your low back or your hip. That's fine. It could be low back, your left hip, or if you can, even around your body towards right hip. We'll hold here for a few breaths. There you go. Now go ahead and inhale and re-extend this left arm up into the air. Turn, we'll bring hands down to the floor. Step back, plank pose. Complete your series. Don't forget the shortcut as an option. Or when you do chaturanga or come down to chaturanga, you can always bring knees to the floor first. Finish your back bend and then meet up in downward facing. Your adjustments, then inhale, extend left leg into the air, bend and twist. Nice opening, twisted in the spine. Exhale to unwind. Step through, left foot to the top of your mat, right heel to the floor behind you, shifting weight back so the hands are light. You'll literally just float. Love it. Right up into the air, warrior one. Good. Exhale, let's open to warrior two. Build your foundation. Find your strong warrior. Breathe in that expansiveness. Reach out over this left thigh, angled upper body, rotate the arms, our tipped over warrior two position. There you go. Reaching to the sky, reaching towards the earth, which opens your center, your heart. Stay here, but now bring your right hand down behind you. Our default is just to low back. If it reaches there, okay. If that feels a little odd on the shoulder, maybe your shoulders is sensitive today. Maybe your right hand can just come to right hip. Or just keep that arm straight down the side of your body. Or if you can, maybe you can reach around from behind and touch or hold on to left thigh. Let's hold for a couple more breaths. Now we're going to consider this a bind. Even if your hand is behind you on your low back, we're going to call this a bind. We're going to inhale and take this right hand back up into the air. Exhale, let's turn. Bring the hands to the floor. Back to our plank pose. Complete your series. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Let's take another seat. You might hop forward, cross your legs to take your seat, or just kneel down. Take a seat. Let's come to cobbler's pose while we're here. You're going to bring the soles of your feet together. Now I'm going to sit on a block. That just feels a little bit better on my back. It just props the hips up a little bit. Lets the knees drop a little bit lower than the hips, allowing you to extend the spine. So either on your mat or a blanket or a block, feet together. Now you might bring the heels in really close, which does create a deep bend in the knees. If that's uncomfortable, just send your feet forward. We'll inhale and just get some more length in the spine. Exhale, draw belly in. We're going to hinge forward slightly. It doesn't have to be much at all initially. So we want to maintain a good length in the torso at first, so we can get the first sensation of a stretch perhaps in the inner thighs. And then if you'd like, another inhale to find more extension through your torso at this new angle. And maybe with your exhale folding a little further if you'd like. And if you want to go even further, that means you might need to let your chin drop down, your back might round, and it's all perfect. Maybe, again, tuning into where you might be holding any tension. Might be in your legs, inner thighs, perhaps your back. And so this pose might help with releasing tension in the back. Let the back round, let the head drop. Feel that flexion or stretch quality through your entire back. You might even breathe a little deeper. If you take a nice full inhale, maybe you can expand your whole back, especially in the upper back. Make space. Exhale. Maybe sink a little deeper if it feels all right. Three more breaths. If you did round your spine to help re-extend it, start by just lifting your head. You might just look out in front of you on the floor. That will start that re-extension. Maybe your hands on the floor to help press so you can start lifting yourself back up, until you're nice and tall in your seat. Just hold there for a moment. From here, let's move into another boat pose. I just came off of the block, but we're going to start to lean back. And as you lean back, you might be able to bring your knees together. And if you continue to lean back, your feet might just float right up into the air. Again, energize the feet, by flexing or pointing toes. Just something active in the feet that'll keep the legs strong so they can lift with a little bit more ease. Remember, you can use the handlebars holding onto the legs. Don't forget these other versions. The heels can come to the ground. Your hands could be on the ground for this posture too. Okay, a couple more breaths. So strong, everybody. Breathing in, ready to move. Our exhale, crossing legs if you can. Hands out front, hop or step back, plank pose. Finishing that flow, chaturanga. Up dog. Downward facing. Another full breath in, fill up your heart. Exhale, walk, step, or hop both feet back up to the top of the mat. Stay on your feet. Inhale, extending spine. Exhale, fold. Let's hold here for a few more seconds. More release of the back body if that's what you need today. Lean back into your heels. Bend your knees. Sweep the arms out and up. Inhale, extend the mountain pose. Good. Exhale again, bring the arms back down by your side. We'll take that same opportunity of shaking things out. Alrighty. So we're going to move into another balancing pose. It's eagle pose. And it's a bind and it's balance. And we're going to add a little bit more nuance to it. I'm going to turn this way just so I don't mix up my left and right. So together we're going to inhale, extend your arms into the air. Take your time with this. As you exhale, bring your arms down slowly. Pay attention to your left arm. You're going to bring it down. Both arms are going to come in front of you, but your left arm is going to come down and behind the right. You're going to cross at the elbows. Right there. So you're making an X. You're going to flip the palms up and then lift the hands, and as you're able, wrap it all up. And that becomes our eagle arms. Now put a little bend in your knees, let them jet forward a little bit, and then shift your weight over into your right foot. Really feel planted on the right foot. Inhale. And as you exhale, pull belly in, and then pick up your left foot up off the floor. Cross that entire left leg over the right. This is our eagle position. Now we're going to hold here for a bit. If you have to step out of it, no worries. Let's see if we can add a little bit more nuance to this pose. As you're able, maybe lifting elbows so they're at shoulder level. If they don't go up that high, don't worry about it. And then try to send your elbows forward. Now, we've already sent the shoulders forward, but this just broadens the back a little bit more. Now, squeeze the legs together a little tighter. Pull your belly in a little tighter, and even squeeze your arms together a little tighter. And this last little bit is if you had your eyes opened and you're trying to look forward at the wall or space in front of you, well, you can't because your arms are in the way. Okay, so this is an obstacle that really clouds our vision. We can't see clearly when we have things in front of us like walls or veils or obstacles like this. All right, let's breathe in. As you exhale, uncross the legs, plant the feet. Let's unwrap the arms, reach out, reach up. Nice big stretch. Arms back down by your side.
And then our relaxed mountain pose. Shake that out. That's a lot of work in the shoulders, especially when they get pulled forward like that. But with the shoulders kind of drawing forward, that's nice. It kind of opens the back. Okay, that's a nice action there, Anne. Taking the arms behind you and just kind of reopening the other way. That's a nice little counter pose. All right, let's do the other side. So same thing, we'll inhale. Whenever you're ready, reach out and up. And the exhales, your arms come down. Your right arm we're paying attention to is going to come down and behind or underneath the left arm. Crossing at the elbows. Let's flip the palms up. Lift the hands. And then wrap it all up as you're able. Now if you can't wrap, that's okay. Maybe you're just hooking the thumbs or touching fingers, or maybe you're just at an X like that. All perfect. It still works. Put a little bend in your knees. Let's start shifting weight into left foot now. Root strongly into the ground. Exhale, pull belly in. We'll lift the right foot and cross that leg entirely over the other. Now you might be able to wrap your foot around the calf. I'm unable to, but you can still do the posture. Now if that foot is free like mine is, you might point your toe or flex the foot, just give it some action. You might even use the ground. You might cross where your toes can touch the ground for a little bit more stability. All right, let's add more to this like we did the other side. We're lifting elbows as you're able to maybe shoulder level. Send elbows forward. Take a breath into your back body since we're broadening the back. Expand it. Exhale and squeeze thighs together tighter. Belly tighter. Arms tighter. Notice this obstacle. We can't see as clearly as we'd like. It's hard to find a focal point because as I'm looking at my arms, they're just blurry. There's just this blurred wall. Sometimes we can feel like that. It's like, I just don't know what's ahead because I'm blocked. Breathe in. Then exhale, let's uncross legs, plant the feet, find that solid foundation. Let's unwrap these arms. Wow, out of that bind, reach out, reach up. Exhale, good, arms down by your side. Ooh, release, same thing, yeah. Remember, those shoulders get pulled forward. That's a kind of a natural thing for us, especially if you're driving or on a computer all day. We really want to counter that. So feel free to do that just for this moment. Maybe your hands behind you, just reaching, shoulders roll back, a little back bend there. And that's just a great way of just getting out of a bind. I just want to open up. Make your way back to mountain pose. We're ready to flow, reopening the body. Here we go. Inhale, reach into the air. Exhale, swan dive. Inhale, monkey pose. Exhale, hands to the mat, walk or step back, plank pose. Come right down if you'd like. Chaturanga, don't forget your shortcut. Inhale, up dog, good. Take your time, no rush. Exhale, downward facing dog. I might be going a little faster, doesn't mean you have to. Inhale, extend right leg up. Bend, twist open. As you exhale, unwind, send right foot to the top of the mat, left heel down behind you. Let's rise up, warrior one, still going at your own pace, no worries, and warrior two. That nice expansiveness. Stay where you are. Just to continue with that nice counter pose to eagle, bring the hands down behind you. Interlace your fingers if you can, or just reach with active hands. I'm going to interlace. Roll shoulders back, squeeze shoulder blades together. Now turn your upper body a little bit towards your right knee, not entirely, but just in that direction. Maybe you're kind of facing the left corner of your mat. We're going to inhale, tip your chin up, open your heart, inhale. Exhale, start to fold carefully and slowly down towards thigh. You can come down just where you're above the thigh. You might come the same alignment as that thigh, or even lower. You choose. Stay in this fold, release the hands and bring them down to the floor. Plant the hands into the ground. Maybe rise up onto your tiptoes behind you. Get hands firmly pressing to the floor so you can slide the right foot back, plank pose, hold. Let's take a shortcut to down dog this time. Bend the knees, hips into the air. If you're able, if it feels okay on your shoulders, let your chest sink a little deeper either towards the ground or look at your toes and send your heart toward your toes.
You can release that if that feels too bound up. And then inhale, extend left leg into the air, continuing our flow, bend and twist. And our exhale, left foot to the top of the mat. Back to our warrior one. Right heel to the floor, rising when you're ready. That's fine. Exhale, opening to warrior two. Feel the expansiveness. Let's continue that nice opening through the front body by bringing hands behind you. This is a humble warrior pose. Interlace fingers or just reach. Let's turn torso a bit towards left knee or towards the right corner of your mat. We'll inhale, roll shoulders back, tip chin up, open heart. Exhale, hinge forward at the hips, coming forward to the level you want to be in. It might be above the thigh, it might be at thigh level, or even lower. If you went too low and it feels too low, you can always rise back up. Stay in the fold, but release the fingers, bring the hands to the floor, plant them strongly into the mat. Let's square out those hips by rising up onto the tiptoes behind you. Firm press of the hands into the mat. Slide foot back, plank, same shortcut to down dog. Hips right into the sky. Hold for a moment. Again, if it feels okay, again, sinking chest. It opens the chest. It also opens the shoulders. But if it feels too much like a pinch, if you go too far, that happens to me. If I go too far, it pinches the shoulders, my shoulders. Stay in the down dog. We're going to flow. Inhale, just extend the right leg up into the air. With your exhale, right away, just bring right foot to the top of the mat. Let's come to a high lunge this time. Left heel stays lifted, but shift the weight back towards that lifted heel. So you can still float right up into your high lunge position now. Yeah, you can always change your arm posture. Love that. Hold for a moment. And if you do bend the elbows, let's all do that. Yeah, let's all bend the elbows. Pull them back a little bit, more opening through the front chest and heart space. Now we're going to inhale, shoot the arms up, open up here to warrior two, arms come down to parallel. Nice. Right into our side angle pose, right arm down, left hand up. We're going to go to that bind again. So the left hand might come down to your low back or hip or right thigh. I'm going to call this first bind. And if you'd like, follow me to second bind. I'm going to spin around so the folks at home can see me. All right, so if you happen to be low enough, now low enough means maybe taking the feet a little bit farther apart, coming down a little lower so your right elbow in this case is lower than your thigh. That allows you to bend your elbow and kind of swing the arm like mine is, and then reach up behind you like this. And maybe your fingers, your right hand can find your left hand. Maybe they don't. But if I bring this left hand down a little bit, I can hook a few fingers and we've made it to a second bind. Now it's okay if you're not holding on to fingers here in this pose. Let's inhale to release, re-extend the arms floor to ceiling, a nice reopening. Turn so you can bring both hands down to the floor. Let's step back, plank pose, Chaturanga Dandasana, or any variation of your flow. Same thing other side. Inhale, extend left leg straight up and back. Exhale right away, left foot to the top of the mat. High lunge. Keeping right heel lifted, we're shifting the weight back a little so the weight is off of the hands. We can easily float up into the air. High lunge, maybe straight arms at the beginning, but then bend elbows here so you can draw the arms back a little bit, opening up through chest. Inhale, let's shoot the arms straight up again. Our exhale, our opening into our warrior two. Hold for a moment. Inhale. Let's exhale and reach out, tip it over into our side angle pose. Nice reaching top to bottom initially. Then bring the right hand down behind you for our first bind. Remember, you can stay just like this. You don't have to go to the second bind. This is perfect just like this. Or if you're going for that second bind, you might want to find a little bit more space between the feet. You can lunge a little deeper and lower yourself down so your elbow is below this thigh. Bend the elbow so you can reach underneath and reach up, maybe finding your right set of fingers. Maybe hook a few fingers. Some of you have some great flexibility, which you can easily grab hold of your wrist. This is certainly a bind. Lots of sensation shows up in binds like this. Notice. Now, inhale to release and reopen, expanding. Turn, hands to the floor. Slide left foot back, plank pose. Finish your flow as you like. Take that shortcut if you need to. Meet up together in downward facing. Let's take a pause here. Bring the knees to the floor. You might sit back into hero pose. If that's too much pressure on the knees or ankles, just take a regular seat on your mat. And just hold there for a moment. Okay, because I'm going to demonstrate the next flow. Let me just come to standing. And I'm going to just kind of hop into an eagle pose. We're going to do the same thing. Kind of feel the dynamics of being in eagle pose. Lifted elbows, elbows forward, squeezing in tightly. And being very observant of this obstacle in front of us. But knowing that we have the power and the strength within us to get out of these binds. So that's what we'll do. We're going to breathe in. I'm going to squeeze a little tighter with that inhale. In the exhale, I'm going to uncross the leg, but step way back on the mat, and then open up right into our warrior two, right back to our expansive body. We'll take a reversed warrior, because that'll be a nice little stretch there. But guess what? We move right into another bind. Side angle. Left hand comes down behind, right set of fingers underneath, into another bind here. Again, these sensations that arise in these binds, they feel so different from when we expand and reopen. We feel more freedom in the body, and we'll get out of that. Okay? All right, so let's make our way back to downward facing dog if you were taking a seat. We'll work our way through our binding postures and experience the sensations in those binds, but more importantly, I think, how it feels when we're out of them and feeling that sense of freedom within. Breathe in. In your exhale, walk, step, or hop both feet to the top of the mat. Inhale, extending spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive, come to standing. Reach up into the air. Exhale, hands down to your heart. Let's just meet here. Settle in. Take a couple of breaths. Moving into our first eagle pose, our first bind. Inhale, sweep the arms into the air. We're going to take the arms in slow motion. As you exhale, bring the arms down. Pay attention to your left arm. It's going to come down and behind or underneath the right elbow. Make the X, spin the palms up, lift the hands. As you're able, wrap it up. There's our eagle arms. Once here, bend your knees a little. Yeah, send your weight over into your right foot. Root strongly onto that side. Exhale, pull belly in so we can lift left foot with some ease. Cross left leg over right, wrap it up. Maybe the toes wrap around the calf. All right, let's turn this on. Lift the elbows to shoulder level perhaps. Send elbows forward. Even take a breath in to expand your back. As you exhale, squeeze legs, belly, and arms tighter. We're not done. Hold. Feel more. Feel more. Sometimes we are in life, we really do experience sensations like this. We feel so bound up. Can't see a foot in front of us. And sometimes not knowing what to do. The answers just aren't there. Breathe in. Squeeze tighter. Exhale, uncross the legs. Step the left foot back onto your mat. Open the body. Extend your arms out. Warrior two. Plant the feet. That's it. Reverse your warrior. Take your right hand up into the air. Feel the opening through the right side body. Right hand comes down. Left hand up into the air.
Even over your head if you'd like initially, just to get a stretch through your left side of the body. Okay, and then yes, bring left hand down behind you to low back. You can stay here for first bind or go a little deeper for second bind. I consider both of these binds because you're really just making contact with yourself, basically. In that case, that first bind, your left arm making contact with your low back. That's perfect. Now, if you can, maybe squeeze a little tighter wherever you are in this bind. Feel the sensations. Have you been in situations like this? Think of life circumstances that might resemble this. And then knowing, I can get out of this. Breathe in. As you exhale, release, expand, open the arms, floor to ceiling. Turn, bring hands to the floor. Step back, plank pose. Finish the flow. Feel the fluid motion of the body as you make your vinyasa, meeting together in downward facing dog. Pause in down dog for a moment. Breathe in deeply. With the exhale, you'll hop, walk, or step both feet, returning to the top of your mat. Inhale to extend spine. Exhale for your fold. Bent knees. Inhale, reverse your swan dive back up into the sky. Exhale, hands to heart. We've made it back. One more time through the other side. Inhale, sweep the arms into the air. In slow motion, as you exhale, bring the arms down, paying attention to your right arm. As it comes down, bring it down behind or underneath the left, crossing at the elbows. Spin the palms up, lift up, wrap it up. Put weight into your left foot. Actually, bend the knees first, then put weight into the left foot. Root. Feel steady there. As you exhale, let's pick up the right foot, cross that right leg over the left. Maybe hook the toes around the calf. Now let's turn it on. Lift your elbows as you're able. Send the elbows forward. Take a breath in to broaden the back. Exhale, squeeze legs, belly, and arms tighter. Still here. Maybe you'll take another breath in, expanding the back. As you exhale, squeeze tighter. More sensation. We want to see clearly. Let's breathe in. Let's get out of this. Exhale, uncross the legs. Step the right foot way back. Unwrap the arms. Reach out. Feel that change in the body, that freedom in the body. Yes, left arm up into the air. Reversing the warrior left side body stretch. Let's take a little windmill to the side angle. So left arm comes down, right arm up into the air. Maybe over your head to get a right side stretch. And then right hand behind you to low back for first bind. You might stay there, just kind of press into the body for that first bind, or take it to that second bind as you'd like. Both have sensation, experience it. I think another thing we can learn from poses like this is that we're not going to stay in them forever. They're temporary. So even when our vision isn't all that clear or there's binds and obstacles, let's remember, let's be hopeful that they're just temporary. Let's inhale, re-expand, open. Here it is, that opening we've been waiting for. Turn, bring hands to the mat. Step back into plank pose, complete your series. Feel the fluidity of the body as your breath flows within you. Meeting together in downward facing dog. Hold for just a couple of breaths. I'm going to take another seat to roll onto the back. When you're ready, and exhale to hop forward, cross legs, take a seat. Go ahead and roll down onto your back. You might hug the knees in initially, another little circle here. Maybe you're able to return to some deeper breaths. Did you notice, maybe in those binds, maybe the breath wasn't as deep. Maybe they were a little bit more shallow. So we can come to these other postures like this, for example, and return to that nice deep breathing. Take a hip opener. You can choose happy baby pose or reclining cobbler's pose. I'll do both. So here's happy baby pose, where you might hold onto the bottoms of the feet with knees bent. And as you press down gently, you can feel how the knees move down towards the ground on either side of you.
Maybe some release and opening in your hips. We certainly can get bound up in our hips. We hold a lot of tension, lots of emotional energy in our hips. So here's that second version. I'm just going to press the soles of the feet together and then set the feet onto the floor for a reclining cobbler's pose. It's a nice option here because you really can relax and just kind of let things expand and open on their own. You can choose those two poses or any other hip opener, or do a variation or a combination of some of those. There's certainly no rush to move, but your next posture will be a twist. I'll guide you here, but you can move when you want to. I'm just going to bring the knees together, hug the knees in, and just send the knees over to the left side. Extend your right arm to the right side. It puts the body into a twist. It's a spinal twist. It might act as a nice hip opener as well for you. Notice the breathing. Maybe it's nice and easy, a little bit more gentle. Maybe you're able to take a deep breath here if you chose to. Nothing feels bound up. Hopefully, we're actually feeling a little bit more opened. Two more breaths. Whenever you're ready to move, you might return to center, even pause in center for a second, and then take knees down to the other side, creating your spinal twist and hip opener. Conscious breath, conscious of the space you've made. Taking two more breaths, or whenever you feel complete. Take your time to return to center. From here, you might move into Shavasana, extending your legs out front, arms down by your side. You're certainly welcome to take any other pose that we have not done together, but you would like to add. You might even repeat a pose that felt good to you. And you don't necessarily have to come to Shavasana. Maybe a more comfortable restorative position for you is lying on your side, or using some props to help elevate your legs or hips or whatever you might need. One intention really is just to feel comfortable, relaxed, feeling a little more freedom within you. Return to the awareness of your breath. Notice your breath. And take 5 slow, deep breaths. Expansive breathing. filling up those spaces with breath that were perhaps a little bit more tight or closed at the beginning of your practice. Breathe new life into these areas. And as you're approaching your fifth breath, no rush to move, but slowly roll on to either side of your body. And still taking your time, moving in slow motion, guide your way up to seated. Once you're here, sitting comfortably, calm and at ease, go ahead and bring hands to heart center. Perhaps in our practice today, we're able to experience those deep sensations of being bound up, closed, tight, but then experiencing that release of those binds, experiencing a freedom from within. And even clearing our vision so that we can see more clearly. And as we complete this portion of our journey together, we bow, saying, Namaste.